We are thrilled today to have such a great audience here representing citizens, employees of the Department of Public Safety, Foundation board members, members of the media. There's one group in particular we would like to recognize and have stand for a moment, and that's our elected officials. If you are an elected official and with us today, please rise and be recognized by the community for all the work you do. As you know, today's event is being brought to you by the Indy Public Safety Foundation. And at this time, I would like to introduce the Executive Director of the Foundation, Nicholas Ball. Nick?
Thanks, Al. Like Al said, my name's Nick Ball. I'm the Executive Director of the Indy Public Safety Foundation. I'd like to thank you all for being here today and taking an interest in the safety of our community. I'd like to also thank Jim Morris for hosting us today. The Foundation is a recently established nonprofit 501c3 organization that was developed to allow citizens, both individuals and corporate citizens, to participate in public safety here in Indianapolis. The goal of the Foundation is to enhance the safety and increase the quality of life here in Indianapolis. The Foundation is results from the vision of Director Troy Riggs. When he started here a little over a year ago, I think he was amazed by the amount of support that was offered to him by community leaders, private citizens, corporations, academic institutions across the board. So he held a small luncheon with some of these individuals, and in very short order, a foundation was incorporated. A stellar board of directors was established. A business plan was drafted. Funds were raised, and programs were undertaken and accomplished. It was pretty amazing. And this is just the beginning of the foundation. We fully expect this foundation to become the premier model of a public-private partnership in the realm of public safety. Indianapolis is blessed with a huge number of community leaders that are willing to roll up their sleeves and get involved. One in particular was an early adopter to Troy's vision, and she jumped on board. She agreed to be the chairperson of the foundation and has and continues to work tirelessly to make sure that it reaches its potential. And so please join me in welcoming Melissa Proffitt Reese, partner at Ice Miller and chairperson of the foundation.
Thanks, Nick. Well, welcome everybody. It's an honor to see everybody here and to honor what this foundation is doing. As Nick mentioned, the point of the foundation is to attempt to bridge a financial and a means gap that exists in supporting our public servants. A lot of times the federal, state, and local monies aren't sufficient to bridge the needs to help our public servants. And so the desire is to reach out to the business community and not only provide that support from the business community, but also to educate the business community about what our public servants do. And I would say that has been the most rewarding piece of this foundation, at least for me personally, is to see the enthusiasm of business leaders in this community, and sometimes for the first time an appreciation for what our public servants do for us every day. They put their lives on their line, they sacrifice their families, and a lot of times for very little pay. And the least we can do as business leaders is to give back to them and bridge that gap. We have been touched by many businesses, whether it's academic institutions, hospitals, law firms, accounting agencies, the Pacers. It has been amazing, the outreach we've received from various business leaders who are wanting and are a part of this. So I'd like right now for the board members that are here to please stand and be recognized. And I want to thank you for all of your efforts. It's been amazing. The type of contributions have been varied, everywhere from counseling services to IT services to filming abilities to strategic planning counseling, and HR initiatives. It's been unending and very, very exciting in terms of the contributions of these board members and others in our community. So, as was mentioned, Troy Riggs was the visionary for this initiative, and it was embraced by this community, which this community does so well, bringing government and business together. It's an honor for me to introduce for you at this time Mayor Greg Ballard, in my opinion, another amazing visionary. I was with the mayor at the start of his term when he was selecting his incredibly talented staff to support him, and his comment was that public safety would be job one from day one, and he has stood behind his word completely. He has appointed public safety professionals like Scott Newman and now Troy Riggs, outstandingly talented, committed individuals. He fought to return IMPD back to the mayor's office. He lobbied the General Assembly to make sure that it stayed there, and he took the politics out of the issue. And I think that's in part because he spent his life as a Marine where politics has no home. He's invested in new training, new equipment, and is putting resources in place to help our first responders and to support them in their jobs. He is a man that understands the importance of public safety and truly from his heart respects what all of you do. It's my honor to introduce to you Mayor Greg Ballard.
Well, thank everybody for coming out today. It's I'd like to say it's wonderful to see the snow. That's really not true. But I do want to thank the Public Safety Foundation for holding this today, organizing this important discussion. I do think it's important. I won't go over necessarily statistics. I think Troy's probably going to give us a few when he comes up and talks for a few minutes. But I want to really start off by thanking Melissa for what she's been doing. She's made such a positive impact on public safety in the community already. And, you know, it's part of who she is, part of her heart, if you will, but she is committed to reducing violent crime just like the rest of us here in the city. And we can't thank you enough, and helping with the board and putting the community partners together. Thank you for everything you've been doing, Melissa. I want to thank everybody on the public safety team for what they do on a daily basis. It's kind of remarkable. I just got done with a few leaders of the police department, and we had a meeting at 8 o'clock this morning talking about strategies and the creative things that are working and not working. It's amazing what they're doing right now, and I could go on and on about what they're doing right now. We could talk about how innovative our fire department is and has been throughout the years. We could talk about EMS and the creativity that they've been going through in the last few years. You may have read recently about getting the frequent riders to be less frequent, and I could go on down the road. Gary and Richmond Hills and everything that they do. I mean, I go right down the road here with the creativity and the passion that these people bring with these 8 divisions in public safety. It is amazing what they do on a daily basis, and I think I would like to think that everybody truly appreciates what they do on a daily basis. And we have to thank Troy Riggs, too, for putting this Public Safety Foundation together, his vision for this. He's been tremendous in our city for I shouldn't say a long time, for what will hopefully be a long time. I know he loves the city of Indianapolis, but he came here and really is doing some amazing things here in the city of Indianapolis. He's really garnered a lot of support, got a lot of business support, a lot of philanthropic support, but obviously support amongst the public safety team themselves, and making sure that all of the divisions are working together collaboratively and looking at problems in a more holistic manner than probably we did in the past. And I think it's difficult to overstate how important that is, and makes a huge difference in the quality of life of our city. It takes somebody to see what needs to be done, but it's the way he did it that has been so important also, because he brought the people together. He listened to the foot soldier, he listened to the middle managers, he listened to the top brass, and put that plan together. And it's been tremendous. And having that kind of focus, having that kind of respect amongst the troops, if you will, makes a huge difference, because we dedicate so much of our budget, as you know, to public safety. By far the biggest driver of the budget in the city of Indianapolis and in pretty much any city in America. So it makes a difference when you get a little bit more efficient. It makes a difference when you get a little bit more effective. And I think that's what they've been doing here recently, and I think it's made a huge impact on what's happening in the city of Indianapolis. I do believe the biggest shift, though, has been in the thinking part. We have to look at things differently than we have in the past. The old models, they may work on a short-term basis, but they traditionally don't work in the long-term basis. You have to be more creative. You have to look at root causes. You have to look at what you can do with what you have in front of you, with the resources you have, and shift them as necessary as things do shift. And we've had shifting of public safety problems just in the last couple of years, where we had to react to them, and I think they're doing that really well. I think the police and others are doing that really, really well, and I can't thank them enough for doing that. But we all know that, for instance, crime fighting takes more than police officers. It takes the community. It takes everybody involved. And if there's any shift at all that I think we really need to make wholesale, it is that to get the entire community involved in public safety. Not just say, this is the police's job, this is the 10-Point Coalition's job, this is whoever is out there. This is a community issue. And you will see going forward on all of the divisions that it becomes more and more of a community issue in the future. We don't want to provide public safety to the citizens. We want public safety to be part of who we are, be part and parcel of what we do every day. And I think that is the shift that is occurring as we speak. As we all know, Indianapolis is a great city to live, to work, to play, to raise a family. But public safety, with all these division heads here, with so much of what we do here, is at the heart of it. Public safety is absolutely at the heart of that. So I'm really confident in our public safety team. I get briefed up quite a bit, as you can probably imagine, and what they're doing. And I'm really looking forward to a lot of celebrating in the future when you see some of the things that are coming down the pike, because you will see some things that we're going to do differently, because things shift all the time, and we have to react accordingly. So I want to publicly thank all the division heads. They've done a tremendous job, but also Troy Riggs has been tremendous in the city of Indianapolis. He and his family have really become a part of our city, and I think it's been tremendous. So I want to thank everybody for being here today. The Public Safety Foundation is a wonderful idea. It's something that really needs to grab hold even more so in the community, and because there are gaps in funding, there are gaps in resources, whatever that might be, and the Public Safety Foundation makes a huge, huge difference in filling those gaps, and it's difficult to overestimate the impact of that. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. I truly appreciate it.
Mayor, thank you for those kind remarks, and let me just say personally, thank you for accepting my application to become the Director of Public Safety, and for being so kind to not only me, but my family as well. If you haven't heard this story, when I first arrived, my oldest son, David, actually came with me first. And so we were living in an apartment on the south side, and we came to a ball game here. And Mr. Morris, and Mr. Fusion, Mr. Ball, the whole Pacer organization, as they've helped us out today, they took care of us, and David got to see a ball game. It was, I think, a triple overtime game. The next day, the mayor invited David and I to his suite to watch the Colts play, and the Colts won that game. And I heard my son speaking to my wife later that night saying, "You've got to get to Indianapolis. It is the greatest city in the world." So thank you for the warm welcome. Also, thank you, counselors, for being here. I certainly appreciate your support and the support of public safety and all of our guests. Melissa, can't say enough to you and our foundation members for all that you do. And our employees are starting to see how much you care about them and the things that you're going to do to better their lives in the future. And also mentioning the Pacer organization, thanking them for hosting this event today. Let me give you some facts regarding your Department of Public Safety. It is comprised of 8 different divisions, 3,200 employees, and as the mayor made reference to, 85% of the entire general fund of the city of Indianapolis. It is a difficult job. Today, we honor those 3 individuals who lost their lives serving our community last year. In addition to that, you may be surprised to realize that we had 2 officers that were shot that have, fortunately for us, survived their injuries. We had 1 firefighter that almost died in a terrible fire. And in all, and this is a number that most people never hear, 630 injuries were reported. 630 people sustained injuries, DPS personnel, in 2013. It has been a difficult year. It's been a tragic year in some respects, but our employees have persevered to produce some amazing accomplishments. Before I review some of these, I want to ask all of our employees that are here today if you would please stand and be recognized. Thank you all for your hard work and dedication. I do want to let you know, and I want our guests to know this, because of you, this department in 1 year is starting to get national and international attention. And now some of the organizations I'm going to speak about are police related, but the reason they were asking us to come and speak, some was police related, some of it was because of our efficiency and effectiveness model. But some of those include the Police Executive Research Forum out of Washington, D.C., the Southern Police Institute, the Canadian Police Association, the United States Congress, the Attorney General of the United States, and yes, Mayor Ballard was invited to the White House by President Obama to share your good works and to talk about what you have planned for the future. That is a tremendous amount of work in 1 year period. When I arrived in October 2012, I spent a great deal of time listening to our citizens and the individuals to do the job each and every day, our employees. And as a result, we decided to organize efficiency teams to deal with a myriad of issues that citizens and our employees were saying we needed to address. How we can continue to build upon the foundation of public safety. And as a result of that, we made sure that our efficiency teams consisted of union representation, the affected unions, employees, and the citizens we serve. Those individuals met together to deal with a wide range of issues, everything from administrative to operational to fiduciary issues. They set goals and objectives as well. If you look on the screen here in a moment, you're going to see our efficiency teams. While those were being organized and put together quickly in 2013, we also set goals and objectives for each one of our 8 divisions. And then we had an efficiency team to do administrative reviews. It may come as a surprise to you, but sometimes governments make promises and they don't fulfill those promises. Here in the Department of Public Safety, we have administrative reviews to hold ourselves accountable. Now, this is how it works. Efficiency teams report out. It goes to one of the individuals here on the front row that are direct reports. They decide what they can implement for the following year. That is added to their goals and objectives as special projects, and then we have administrative reviews handled by Deputy Director Washington to ensure that what we say we're going to do, that we actually complete that. And for the first time in the history of the Department of Public Safety, we now have a continuous improvement business cycle that we are utilizing. I truly believe what gets measured gets accomplished, and we're going to measure a lot in 2014. As a result of this new business approach in 2013, our goal was and is to become as efficient and effective as possible as a Department of Public Safety. In the private sector, $1 saved is $1 earned. $1 saved is $1 earned. We don't think of that sometimes in government. But in public safety, we want to look at $1 saved as $1 we can reinvest into public safety, reinvest in our workforce. Now I want to introduce some members that are key to the success of the Department of Public Safety. First, my executive staff, Deputy Director and CFO Valerie Washington is here. My executive assistant, Lori White. You've met Al Larson, Chief Spokesperson. Our newest member is Kurt Collins. It's a small group that we have in our office, but they have worked very hard and tirelessly over the last year, and I want to personally and publicly thank them for their work. And I want to share with you a few of their successes, because as an executive office, we cannot be immune to setting goals and objectives ourselves. We have to hold ourselves accountable as well. This team developed a continuous improvement business cycle. We have had 25 efficiency teams report out, 14 are currently ongoing, and prep work has been completed on at least 15 for 2014. We assisted Chief of Staff Ryan Vaughn with successfully negotiating contracts with our friends from the FOP and the local. Fire dispatchers also have a new labor agreement. We held 55 administrative reviews, 3 of those which were public, to ensure our accountability. We launched a Public Safety Foundation, and because of their work, they have already raised in cash and in-kind contributions nearly $200,000, and they have not had their first fundraiser as of yet. We hosted an awards banquet for our employees, established an excellence in government program to honor and to recognize monthly the employees that go above and beyond the call of duty. And we established a Twitter account, email account, and newsletter to better interact with our employees and our citizens. And we organized the first ever decision house to showcase to freshmen in high school that there are consequences to drug use, violence, and to poor decision making. We also took steps to ensure the transparency and accountability of the Department of Public Safety by making sure that all goals and objectives and all of our efficiency teams were posted on the website, and established an email address, dps@indy.gov, for feedback from our workforce and our employees. Now, as I said earlier, our Department of Public Safety consists of 8 different divisions. To give you a greater appreciation of what each and every one of them does on a day-to-day basis and what they accomplished in 2013, I'm going to take a few moments and kind of scan each department and give you some highlights. I'm also going to ask for the leadership to stand and be recognized for a moment. I'm going to begin with Dr. Willie Jenkins, who is in charge of the Mayor's Office of Reentry. Because of Mr. Jenkins' leadership, places of incarceration in our community have been provided with a videotape, a recording that prisoners will see on their first day in jail. Now, this is the brainchild of Mayor Ballard. Think about this. Reentry sometimes never begins until people get out of prison, get out of jail. What Dr. Jenkins and his team are putting together is this recording people will see on their first day in, so they can start getting the help and start making sure that they make positive decisions to help rebuild their lives in the future. What does that mean? It means that they'll successfully reenter society, ultimately, hopefully, becoming a good citizen, family member, and most of all, a good parent. And let's remember, at minimum, 5,000 people re-enter Marion County from jail each and every year. Citizen Complaint Office, headed by Mr. Chris Reeder. This is an independent police complaint office, and Chris has provided valuable ideas since my arrival here. He's been extremely involved in the team put together by Manny Mendez, the efficiency team with Chief Hite's help, police department's help, and Chris Reeder in working and developing a new internal affairs process for our police officers. The FOP has been at the table and given us invaluable information. As a result, the police department will be able to deal with complaints thoroughly, effectively, and I think this is extremely important, fairly. Chris also was instrumental in helping us purchase a new internal affairs program that for the first time will track complaints against police officers and investigations. It will also be able to give police officers and citizens real-time information on the process of their complaint. And the system is designated to flag officers that are having corrective behavior issues so we can take that corrective behavior before it's too late. And I need to say this about Chris and his team. They have improved their services within his office. It used to take about 48 hours to respond to a complaint from a citizen. That is now down to 24 hours. And this is an important point, and I think people have not heard this year, is that Chris, by working with Chief Hite, worked with Manny Mendez and our team, we have seen an actual decrease against complaints against police officers by 25% in 2013. That is good work. Thank you, Chris. Animal Care Control. Dan Shackles, administrator of that division, he's been working on efficiencies. One of the things that they did was purchase electronic ticket writers. It takes 25% less time to write a ticket with the electronic system than paper. What does that mean for citizens? That means each and every year, 3,400 hours of work will be done that was being lost to doing paper tickets. Not only did he do that, but he updated his fleet by adding 9 vehicles and replacing old vehicles that were not fuel efficient. As a result, the new vehicles are better equipped, and as a result, they get 14 miles per gallon better than the previous vans. And I do want to take time to thank their foundation, Animal Care Control Foundation, for all their hard work, and the individuals that volunteered 20,000 hours to animal care and control last year, helping animals and assisting the workforce. Because of them and our workforce, the save rate for animal control has increased from 56% to 64% just this year. Tim Boffman, chief of our public safety communications team, is overseeing a $15 million investment in a new computer-aided dispatch and records management system. Now, this system is very robust, and it's important to citizens as well, because very soon you will be able to see crime data in real time. Officers will get that in their squad cars, and citizens will be given that access as well. They have also implemented safetown.org that tracks emergency personnel at this time for the public. We will add quality of life issues and crime data to that as we progress through 2014 into 2015. We announced this on October the 29th. Within the first few days, we had 70,000 hits from the community. And Mr. Mayor, I've got to say, we're proud to announce the website never shut down. Homeland Security Chief Gary Coombs. Within 24 hours of the Richmond Hills explosion in 2012, he and his team were there coordinating activities. During the year 13, they helped people rebuild their lives. They helped work with the police department and the prosecutor to bring the 3 people under arrest, and they were very successful, and the community was grateful. But in addition to this arduous task, you have to realize that the day-to-day business of government continues. And we have a tremendous amount of events and special events and sporting events in this community, and we need to make sure that we cover those. His team continued to monitor those and plan for those, and then just 2 weeks before the marathon, the mini marathon here, Boston had a bombing at their marathon. He and his team jumped in, started looking at issues. They paid meticulous attention to detail. Security was enhanced based on gathered intelligence, and his team, and this is important, not only did we have the safest events ever, but as a comparison to the year before, saved 21% comparatively. Taxpayer dollars saved as a result. Their response was effective and it was efficient. They're also working at securing our local schools. They have worked with 80% of our schools to develop emergency plans so that our kids will be safer than ever before. EMS, under the direction of Chief Charlie Miramani, Dr. Miramani and his team has worked very hard in establishing a disaster response core team that includes 30 members. These members are well trained and will deal with a variety of potential issues quickly and effectively. What does that mean for our city when there is disaster? It simply means that lives will be saved because of this pre-work. Also, people do not understand that EMS sends individuals in with our SWAT team into some very dangerous situations. They have been fully trained and they have been armed as a result for just those incidents to protect themselves, protect our officers, and protect those innocent victims. And something that the mayor alluded to was a community outreach resource efficiency pilot program known as CORE. This is going to work with chronic users, and some say abusers, of the EMS system. This approach, it's a hybrid approach that involves patient care, education, and social worker integration. They will work together to ensure that people get better patient care and they do not use our services. Every time EMS transports someone, that is $1,200. It adds to our cost, it takes a wagon out of service, and it adds to the community's health care cost. So we're looking forward to seeing what comes as a result. Chief Brian Sanford oversees the fire department. Chief Sanford and his team reviewed the implementation of Mayor Ballard's executive order regarding post-oil alternatives. Thanks to his hard work, the city of Indianapolis will lead the nation in protecting national interests. As a result of this team, plug-in hybrids will be purchased this year, and the fire department will begin using 100% made biodiesel. The chief and his staff will move forward to build upon that legacy of excellence that the mayor spoke about. They set a couple of goals I want to go through real quick. They wanted to reduce vehicular accidents by 5%. They're actually down by 20%. Inspect building inspections to protect the community. They wanted to increase that by 10%. It was actually increased by 17%. And to ensure that he has the best trained staff in America, he made it mandatory that all of captains and above successfully complete Fire Officer 1 and 2 training, and by working with Local 416 was able to obtain a grant to hire 30 firefighters who are now on the streets of Indianapolis serving day in and day out. Police Chief Richard Height and his team, I guess I can say, Chief, you've had a busy year. Very busy year. But I want to say a few things on behalf of Chief and his staff. Violent crime is down nearly 2% this year. That gets lost sometimes. Property crime is down by 6%. But sadly, too many of our citizens have lost their lives to murder, 125 in all. Chief Height and his team quickly developed an efficiency team to try to deal with the issues of homicides ranging from truancy to reentry. And they've worked very hard doing that. As a result, this year our aggravated assaults, and let's be clear, the difference between aggravated assaults and homicides sometimes is where the bullet landed. Aggravated assaults are down 16%, and shootings within the city of Indianapolis are actually down 5% as compared to 2012. Chief Hyde also understands that fighting crime, you have to have officers on the streets, and he has decentralized the department and responded to citizens' demands for more access to officers by repurposing 111 officers. And additionally, the IMPD will hire 50 officers each of the next 3 years, while also hiring 45 civilians this year. And those officers in those positions will be moved back into traditional police functions. Now, that's important for us as an organization. It's important for us as a city. But I want to give the chief and his team credit, and Deputy Director Washington. All of this was done within their existing budget through finding efficiencies. Because of this, the mayor led the charge in working with the council to find additional funding for 30 officers. So what does this mean to the city of Indianapolis? It means that next year you will have 80 new officers and 40 officers currently back on the streets who used to be in civilian positions. That's the equivalent of 120 officers out on the streets doing traditional police functions in 2014 that were not there in 2013. As you can see, the 8 divisions are working smarter, harder, and better than ever, and they have instituted significant change. I can honestly say that as I go across the nation, I cannot find any group like these 8 individuals that have done so much in 1 year. Your first responders' goals for 2014 are pretty simple: to reduce crime, to reduce the fear of crime, and to enhance the safety of citizens and visitors to our great city. So how are we going to accomplish this? Number one, the mayor has tasked the Department of Public Safety with the responsibility of developing a more robust method for collecting crime data and also quality of life data. 2014, we made great strides. But as a result, by early 2015, the mayor will be able to walk into one room and see all data regarding government services and quality of life services in one room, so decisions can be made timely and they can be effective immediately. DPS will work with the mayor and our state leaders to focus on mandatory minimum sentencing for those using a weapon while committing a crime. We will continue to work on evaluating the allocation of our personnel in all 8 divisions, and we will work with our friends from the FOP to work on a minimum staffing protocol for IMPD. And with the help of the DPS Foundation, we will train 600 first-line supervisors. 600 first-line supervisors. Our goal is to have the best trained first-line supervisors in all of America. And we will work with the community to deal with the issues that lead to crime and the degradation of the quality of life. And I do want to stop this moment and make a vow to the citizens of Indianapolis on behalf of all of our 3,200 employees that the Department of Public Safety will continue to work hard each and every day to earn your respect and your trust. I can assure you we will come through. In closing, I want to talk a little bit more on a personal level. I thought it was important to give you the facts and go through it. It's also important to let you know that what I talked about is only skimming the surface of some of the things that these individuals have been doing every day, these employees that you see sitting here today. But when I was a young person, my mom and dad are here, we used to have family meetings to discuss important issues affecting our family. Now, I got to be honest, because I see Reverend Harrison here. Some of those meetings were about my conduct. But I will also say most of them were about things that we were facing in our family life. As I thought about that the other day, and the chief and I were talking about some of the issues facing the police department, he started talking about families and things, and I thought maybe it's time for us in Indianapolis to have a family meeting. Maybe we need to have an honest meeting Take the politics out of it. Let's just talk about what we're dealing with in our community. And as a family of Indianapolis, we have some substantial needs right now. Let me give you some numbers. You're all familiar that 125 people were murdered in Indianapolis. That's 125 people and lives were lost. You may not realize that at minimum 95 people lost their lives using heroin last year in the city of Indianapolis. Here's another troubling statistic that Chief Hyde brought to my attention. Sadly, 168 of our neighbors took their own lives in 2013. Yes, violent crime and shootings are down. We know that. Police department's doing the good work. But we still have to deal with the complexities that lead to violence in the first place. It is true that a majority of the individuals that have been killed and those that pulled the trigger are very common in their past history. They have a history of interaction with the police department, they have a history of jail, and they have a history of drugs and alcohol abuse. But this does not negate the fact that as an Indianapolis family, we need to be concerned about that. You know, I was recently asked what I thought the greatest threat to Indianapolis and our nation was for 2014. My answer, I think, surprised the person that asked me. It's apathy. Apathy. And let me be clear about this. As a community, we cannot be apathetic about crime. We cannot be apathetic about education. We cannot be apathetic about jobs. And we cannot be apathetic about the quality of life of any area within Indianapolis. We can only solve these issues with public support. We're 3,200 strong. That's not enough. It needs us working with the community in partnership for a safer tomorrow. I believe, since we're having a family meeting, I believe that we need to treat every death for what it is, a tragedy. Every assault as if it were against our own family member, and be personally offended, and I mean personally offended, when anyone would dare commit a crime in the great city of Indianapolis. Here in Indy, been here a year and a half, one thing I know for sure is that we are not afraid of a challenge. Here in Indianapolis, we understand that public safety is everyone's responsibility. This is Indianapolis. We can do this. This is Indianapolis. We can do this. Thank you for being here today. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless the great city of Indianapolis. Thank you very much.